The awakening of hidden abilities. Chosen one, there is a restlessness in your spirit that human logic has never been able to explain. You've always felt that your life has been marked by invisible confrontations and resistance that seemed disproportionate to your actions. What you are about to discover is not a theory, but the revelation of abilities that the system of darkness has tried to hide from you your entire life. Nothing you've been through was by chance or bad luck. Every desert and every silent battle served to forge within you capacities that the kingdom of darkness considers dangerous and forbidden. The enemy doesn't attack you for what you do, but for the potential he sees in your spiritual DNA. Today, we're going to remove the veil that covers your eyes. We're going to dive into 7 extraordinary abilities that are already operating within you, often unconsciously. They are tools of authority and discernment that the darkness deeply fears, because they nullify any attempt to manipulate or control your journey. Prepare your heart to recognize yourself spiritually in a way you never imagined possible. Understanding these abilities is what separates the confused chosen one from the one who rules. You were designed to see what many ignore and to carry an authority that few can bear. The time has come to stop feeling inadequate and start recognizing yourself as a strategic force of God here on earth. Your awakening begins now. Hello, I'm George, and if you feel you were born for something far greater than the ordinary, this place is yours. Here, we walk together in the truth and sincerity that your calling demands. If you want to deepen your identity and strengthen your spirit, follow our channel and turn on notifications. Let's now reveal what makes you so terrifying. 1. Spiritual memory. The soul's record. The enemy cannot erase. The first ability you carry, one that causes silent panic in the realm of darkness, is your spiritual memory. It's essential that you understand this has nothing to do with your intellectual memory or your ability to recall dates and names. Spiritual memory operates on a much deeper level. It is the record of your origin. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, your spirit already existed in the heart of God. You carry a heavenly DNA that holds the imprints of eternity. And that's why, from a very young age, this world has never truly felt like your home. The darkness fears this ability because it functions like an antivirus against manipulation. The system of this world works day and night to make you forget who you are. They want you to feel like just another person in the crowd, a common human being, limited by fears and basic needs. However, when your spiritual memory is activated, you begin to have glimpses of an authority that does not belong to this plane. You start to recognize spiritual truths, even before someone explains them to you. It's that feeling of, I already knew this, or this resonates deep in my soul. Biblically, this ability finds support in passages like Jeremiah 1:5, where God says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." If God knew you, your spirit also carried that record of recognition. The enemy tries to bury that memory under layers of trauma, rejection, and distractions because he knows that a chosen one who remembers their true origin is impossible to enslave. Someone who carries the record of the Father's house will never settle for the crumbs this world offers. The darkness calls this ability forbidden because it breaks the cycle of spiritual amnesia that keeps humanity bound. When you begin to access this memory, you start seeing situations through the lens of eternity. You stop suffering over temporary things because something inside you says, "This isn't real. This won't last. I belong to something greater." That unshakable conviction destabilizes every evil plan, because there is nothing more dangerous to darkness than a chosen one who has recovered the awareness of their true identity. Use this memory to filter your reality. Every time fear tries to paralyze you, close your eyes and search for that internal record. Let your spirit silence your noisy mind. You are not who they said you were. You are who God designed in eternity. This memory is the anchor that keeps you firm, while everyone else sinks in the illusions of the world. Your essence is divine, and your spirit remembers this. 2. The inner ear, the frequency of radical obedience. The second ability that makes hell retreat is your inner ear. This is the ability to pick up God's frequency without the need for external noise or human confirmation. While most people depend on visible signs, others' opinions, or complex logic to make decisions, the chosen one with a tuned inner ear responds to a whisper that comes from within. It's a direct connection, a spiritual radio channel that stays on 24 hours a day, sending strategic instructions for your journey. The inner ear is the ability that gives rise to what we call radical obedience. The enemy is not afraid of those who study the Bible a lot, but he is terrified of those who hear the direction of the Spirit and act on it without question. This ability is terrifying to the darkness because it's unpredictable to human logic. You might receive an instruction to change direction, to stay silent in an argument, or to abandon a project that seemed profitable. And that simple obedience can cancel a trap the enemy spent years preparing for your path. Jesus perfectly described this ability in John 10:4. The sheep follow him, for they know his voice. Notice that he didn't say the sheep read about the voice, but that they know the sound. This is intuitive. It's spiritual. The inner ear allows you to sense the weight or lightness of a decision. If you feel an unexplained heaviness, it's your spirit hearing a danger alert. If you feel peace in the middle of a storm, it's your spirit hearing the "do not fear" from the Creator. Why is this ability considered forbidden? Because it makes you independent of the religious and social system. A chosen one who hears internally cannot be controlled by manipulative leaders or societal pressure. They don't need external approval to know they're on the right path. This breaks the control hierarchy of darkness, which uses fear and doubt to paralyze people. When you hear the shepherd's voice within you, the critic's voices become nothing more than meaningless background noise. Darkness violently attacks this ability through distraction and mental fatigue. Information overload, the noise of social media, and the rush of daily life all serve to muffle that internal frequency. If the enemy can get you to live only at the level of your rational mind, he gains the upper hand. But the moment you decide to silence the outside and tune in to what your spirit is saying, you access secrets the world ignores. You begin to have spiritual intelligence that places you steps ahead of any opposition. Developing the inner ear takes courage to trust the invisible. Often the inner voice will ask something that seems absurd to your intellect. But the chosen ones who left their mark on history were precisely those who trusted the inner whisper more than the world's loudest shouts. Guard your silence. Protect your moments of solitude. Your inner ear is the compass that never fails, the instruction that protects you in the dark, and the weapon that makes you a secret agent of the kingdom, impossible to be tracked by the enemy's strategies. 3. Atmosphere. Reading, the high-precision spiritual sensor. The third ability that dwells in you and deeply disturbs darkness is your capacity for reading atmospheres. This is not ordinary emotional sensitivity. It is a high-precision spiritual radar implanted in your spirit to discern what is hidden before it even manifests physically. Have you ever been in situations where you entered a seemingly nice and organized place, but felt an immediate tightness in your chest, a sudden urge to leave, or a weariness that wasn't physical? That's your spirit processing the spiritual reality of that environment. Darkness operates under disguise. The enemy rarely presents himself as something frightening. He prefers to camouflage himself in kind words, rehearsed smiles, and environments that give off a false sense of well-being. However, the chosen one who carries the ability to read atmospheres is a problem for this camouflage system. You can sense the frequency of envy, manipulation, deceit, or lust, even if no one has said a word. This ability terrifies darkness because it removes the element of surprise. The enemy can't ambush you when your spirit has already sensed his presence miles away. Biblically, this function is tied to the discernment of spirits, mentioned in 1 Corinthians 12:10. To discern is not to judge by appearance, but to see through the spiritual substance. When the Apostle Paul noticed a young fortune teller following him and proclaiming truths, he wasn't deceived by what she said, but read the spiritual atmosphere behind her and rebuked the spirit that controlled her. In the same way, you carry this lens. You can tell when peace is genuine and when it's just a strategic truce from the enemy. This ability is considered forbidden by darkness because it prevents you from being contaminated by others' spiritual burdens. The chosen one who reads atmospheres knows when to step away, when to remain silent, and when to release a prayer of authority to cleanse the environment. You become a living filter. The enemy tries to label this ability as shyness, antisocial behavior, or oversensitivity, all to make you feel ashamed of your radar and try to shut it down to fit in. But the truth is, this sensitivity is your protection. Learn to trust what your spirit feels, even if your mind tries to rationalize it. If you felt that something is wrong, it is. Don't be polite to the point of ignoring the Holy Spirit's warning within you. Use this ability to choose where you step and with whom you share your intimacy. Atmosphere reading is your advanced defense system, ensuring that you walk on safe ground and that your light remains pure, untouched by the silent contaminations of this world. 4. Silent authority, the weight of glory that governs without words. The fourth ability, and perhaps one of the most feared by the forces of darkness, is your silent authority. There's a crucial difference between power that makes noise and authority that governs in silence. Many people try to impose authority through shouting, titles, or physical intimidation, but the chosen one carries something far deeper: the weight of glory. It's a spiritual authority that needs no introductions or justifications. It simply emanates from you through your gaze, your posture, and your mere presence. The enemy recognizes this authority from afar. In the spiritual realm there is a hierarchy, and your soul carries a seal of government that was forged in fire. This ability is terrifying because it cannot be faked or bought. It is born from the battles you've won in secret, from the tears you've shed in the wilderness, and from the integrity you've maintained when no one was watching. Every time you chose to obey God rather than give in to sin or revenge, your silent authority increased. We see this clearly in Jesus' ministry. In Matthew 7:29, the crowds noticed that he taught as one who had authority, not as the scribes. The demons, upon seeing Jesus from afar, screamed in fear. Jesus didn't need to perform. His mere presence was judgment for the darkness. You, as a chosen one, carry this same spiritual DNA. Have you noticed that some people change their behavior when you arrive, or that shallow conversations cease when you walk into a room? It's not just your vibe, it's silent authority confronting the spirit of the world. Darkness calls this ability forbidden because it destabilizes social control. Someone with silent authority cannot be intimidated by fear. You don't need to fight to be respected. The spiritual world already respects you, or fears you. The enemy tries to attack your self-esteem and personal image so that you won't perceive the weight you carry. He wants you to feel small so that your authority remains dormant and unused. But the truth is, When you fix your eyes on a situation of injustice, you are exercising spiritual jurisdiction over it. This authority manifests in your ability to say no and stand firm while everyone around you gives in. It's seen in your calm during the storm. While others panic, your spirit rests in the certainty of who sent you. As James 4:7 says, "Submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you." Resistance here is not a physical effort. It is a position of authority. Darkness flees not from those who scream, but from those who are rightly positioned in God. Understand the value of your silence. Sometimes the greatest war you wage isn't with words, but by standing firm, keeping your heart pure, and your gaze fixed on the heights. Your silent authority is what protects your home, your projects, and your purpose. It's the invisible shield that causes the enemy's arrows to lose their strength before reaching you. You are a spiritual ruler in training. Assume your position and allow the authority of the kingdom to flow through you, naturally and unshakably. 5. The eye of revelation, the vision that unmasks intentions. The fifth ability that makes you a direct threat to the plans of darkness is your eye of revelation. This isn't a common observational skill. It's an extension of God's light operating through the windows of your soul. The chosen one who possesses this gift doesn't just see the surface or the social masks people wear. They carry a frequency of truth that, when fixing their gaze on a situation or person, begins to uncover what is hidden. That's why you often detect lies before they are spoken, or feel the discomfort of someone trying to conceal a hidden agenda. Darkness operates in obscurity and duplicity. The enemy survives through deception, creating facades of kindness to lure the unaware. However, your gaze works like a high-intensity spotlight. When you look at a project, a friendship, or a proposal, your spirit senses the root, not just the fruit. You can see the pride behind false humility and the manipulation behind excessive politeness. This ability is terrifying to evil because it removes the power of deception. A lie exposed loses all its control. Darkness tries to label this ability as distrust or paranoia. The enemy wants you to ignore your perception so that he can enter your life disguised as opportunity. But the chosen one must embrace their eye of revelation. It exists to protect your destiny. You were called to be a watchman, someone who sees danger from afar and isn't fooled by appearances. This gaze gives you the strategic advantage of knowing whom to trust and where to invest your energy. Use your sight with wisdom and silence. You don't need to go around pointing out everyone's mistakes, but you must use this vision to govern your own life. When you see with revelation, traps become visible, and wolves in sheep's clothing lose their disguise. Your vision is an extension of divine justice. It lights your path and ensures that you never walk in darkness, for the light within you can dispel any shadow of deception. 6. Supernatural resilience, the power of unshakable restart. The sixth ability that terrifies darkness is your supernatural resilience. This is not psychological toughness. It is a spiritual capacity for regeneration and strengthening after every blow. The enemy spends years planning an attack to destroy you, to break your heart, or to extinguish your hope. He uses loss, betrayal, and humiliation with the goal of making you give up. However, the chosen one possesses a forbidden ability, the capacity to use the ashes to rebuild with even greater power. To darkness, there's nothing more frustrating than a chosen one who rises again. The enemy knows how to defeat those who rely on their own strength, but he doesn't know how to deal with someone who draws strength from their own weakness. Every time you fall and rise with more wisdom and less fear, the kingdom of darkness loses territory. Your resilience is testimony that the power sustaining you doesn't come from the earth. You are like the burning bush in the wilderness. You burn, but are not consumed. The fire of trials refines you rather than destroys you. This ability is considered forbidden because it makes the chosen one uncontrollable. If pain doesn't stop you, if abandonment doesn't extinguish you, and if lack doesn't steal your peace, darkness no longer has tools to manipulate you. The fear of suffering is humanity's greatest shackle. But when you discover that you can walk through the valley of the shadow of death and come out with authority, you become free. Your resilience is living proof that God's grace is enough and that your purpose is indestructible. Develop the awareness that you are anti-fragile. In the spiritual realm, the more pressure you face, the more anointing is produced. Don't fear the hard seasons. They are the lab where your resilience is being sharpened. The enemy may celebrate a temporary fall, but your rise will be his terror. You weren't made to be broken. You were made to overcome, to start again, and to rule, turning every scar into a medal of spiritual honor and authority. 7. Prophetic intercessory. Burden, the connector of destinies. The seventh and final ability that makes the realm of darkness tremble is your prophetic intercessory burden. Perhaps you felt unexplained heaviness in your heart, a sudden urgency to pray for someone you haven't seen in years, or a deep anguish that isn't yours, but compels you to seek God in the middle of the night. That's not anxiety or emotional imbalance. It's your spirit functioning as a strategic intervention antenna. You are called to be a channel between the throne and the earth, someone who feels the pains of the kingdom and turns them into decrees of power. Darkness fears this ability because it can cancel evil plans before they even manifest in the physical realm. While the enemy silently plots traps against your family or purpose, the Holy Spirit downloads a file into your spirit. Through this burden, you begin to wage war over things your mind doesn't yet understand, but your spirit already knows need covering. You are a secret intervention agent. Your private prayer unties knots that were tied on altars of darkness. The foundation for this is found in Amos 3:7. Surely the sovereign Lord does nothing without revealing his plan to his servants, the prophets. This partnership makes you dangerous because you're not caught off guard. The chosen one who carries this prophetic burden is capable of changing the atmosphere of cities and families. When you bow down, heaven moves. The enemy tries to overload you with fatigue, so you'll ignore these impulses. But when you accept this burden, you become a right hand of divine justice on earth. Chosen one. These 7 abilities were not given to you so that you would feel superior, but so that you would understand the weight of the responsibility you carry. Darkness has always known what you are capable of. That's why your life has been so heavily bombarded from the start. They tried to distract you, to wound you, and to silence you. But you're still here. And now you're aware of the forbidden weapons you carry in your spiritual DNA. From today on, stop looking at your sensitivity as a weakness. Your inner ear, your eye of revelation, and your silent authority are the tools of your governance. Stop trying to fit into places that require you to dim your light. The world doesn't need another asleep chosen one. The world needs you to take up your position as a watchman and warrior. I'm George, and my mission is to make sure you no longer walk in the dark about who you truly are. If this message has activated something deep within you and brought clarity to battles you didn't even know you were fighting, then the purpose of this encounter has been fulfilled. Follow our channel and turn on notifications so we can continue sharpening your spirit for the days to come. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 7 abilities have you most recognized in your journey? And which one do you feel needs more activation? Comment below. Your experience is living proof that the chosen never walk alone, and that one person's awakening becomes the strength of many. Leave your story with sincerity, and let's strengthen this chain together. See you in the next video.